Now listen, this is very obviously an incredibly controversial film. It has its haters, it has its fans, and now at this moment, Zack has gained an enormous fan following, and to be honest, that's great. I feel like he didn't deserve all the hate that he got. He was just a filmmaker putting his vision to screen, although they don't always connect with some people. I certainly can appreciate that these films are how he wants to portray these beloved characters according to him, and that's fine. But after Man of Steel, which I think is pretty okay, then came Batman v Superman. It got negative responses, people hated it, made several videos about it. Then the dust settled. Eventually, the Snyder fans slowly started to rise and voice their opinions, which is fantastic because we get to see multiple points of view. And I started to like them, ever so slightly. What can I say? I get influenced pretty easily. The criticisms made sense, but the good things about it also somewhat made sense. So, after 4 years, I decided to revisit Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. So, what do I think of this movie? It's messy, but I don't exactly hate it, if you know what I mean. So, this film does ask a few important questions, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, you see, I really like the performances. By the way, so the casting of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, who played a very minor role, who didn't really need to be in the film, kind of unnecessary, but okay, I guess fine. But Batman, played by Ben Affleck, he was great, man. He's there's a level of nuance and depth in his character, and obviously this is a very aged Batman, right? He's somewhat in his 50s 60s. He's been Batman for 20 years. That's quite a long time, and he has seen a lot. He has had more experience compared to the younger Batman, right? Probably young, like the younger Batman, for example, the Robert Pattinson Batman coming soon, right? I really like the idea of Batman being old and grisly, somewhat like the Dark Knight Returns comics. And he's more brutal, he's more bulky, he's more muscular, he's more serious, he's more dark, more brooding. I love those aspects about him. Right? It's something different, something similar to the comics, and Ben Affleck did a fantastic job. He's a great actor. However, it slightly falters in the writing. You see, Batman in this movie, you must have heard this criticism several times, but it is a criticism for me nonetheless. Batman kills. Why? Right? And there obviously could be possible stories with Batman killing and it still being a good story or an interesting story, right? But when Batman kills, the whole conflict about him not killing, his no kill rule, the all the drama that you can juice out of that rule is gone. In The Dark Knight, Joker always pushes Batman to try and kill him or kill anyone, right? That's the thing. That's why it's compelling because it pushes the story forward, it progresses the characters, it shows us how far they are willing to go under certain circumstances. That's why The Dark Knight works. That's why that no kill rule is used. It's used to its full advantage, to its full potential. And this film had the ability to do that. But it killed. Batman shoots a bunch of goons and blows up a freaking car and goes through it. He killed a bunch of people in the warehouse fight scene. He freaking slaughtered, slammed, stabbed these goons. These goons must have a family. They must have children. Children who witness their parents' death, like Batman. Batman doesn't kill because he doesn't want anyone else or any other child to go through the same trauma that he did as a child. But when he kills, it's straight up goes against his character. That's a major problem. He blows up dude with his bat jet, I guess. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's easily frustrating. But there's one possibility they could have gone, the one way they could have explored Batman killing people is if the story was about him learning that it is wrong to kill people. If that's the case, then it would have worked, right? But Batman doesn't grow in this film as much. He grows as in, yeah, he learns to not be very alone. He learns to be somewhat a team player, which isn't very, it isn't done very efficiently, but it's something I can appreciate its existence, yes. But like, if the story was about him learning that no, I should not kill, this is wrong, this is against my moral code, this is against what I stand for, and he grows out of that phase of murdering, that would have been an interesting story. That would have actually made Batman a pretty good, well written character, other than the performance and the costume and the fight scenes, which were done to perfection. Now that Batman's out of the way, I wish Superman had more screen time. I mean, Clark Kent, Henry Cavill, he is easily one of the best Superman ever. Maybe second to Christopher Reeves, but he's really good in the role. But I wish he had something more to do. I like the conflict about, should these superheroes exist? Should these gods exist? Or are they doing the right thing? What power do they have over humanity, over the government? Those questions, yeah, I appreciate that. It reminds me of Civil War. It's like, see, people complained about all the collateral damage that took place in the previous movies, and then they show the aftermath and the consequence of that damage caused by the superheroes. Batman and Superman Civil War. Heroes fighting each other. They came out in the same year and asked the similar questions. And Civil War obviously did it better, but I am slowly learning to appreciate this film itself. Lex Luthor, he's okay. I like the performance, right? But writing wise, again, not so great. And I'm okay with Jesse Eisenberg did a great job acting wise, performance wise, but I feel like I'm okay with Lex Luthor not being a bald, muscular dude who's the president and all. That's fine. That's in the comics. You can have different interpretations. That's all right. So he plays. He makes Luthor menacing, right? But what somewhat felt lacking in this department for Luthor was the motivation. There was a little glimpse. If you like just carefully listen to his dialogue, you'll catch a glimpse of him saying, "My father's fist and abominations." That somewhat signifies that okay, he had an abusive childhood and an abusive relationship with his father. That's interesting. That's actually something that you could explore. That's something he could address. That's something he can go deep down. You can somewhat empathize with the villain, right? You can get a greater understanding. You can make him more three dimensional. But the film doesn't do that. The film doesn't go deep enough for the villain to be more empathetic, more relatable, or just make more sense from his point of view. But it doesn't do that. It gives us a very small glimpse, and I wish it had explored that more. I Now it's a pretty cool idea of bringing back Zod in the form of Doomsday, but I didn't like that the ending battle. I mean, okay, Batman and Superman. It's called Batman v Superman, where Batman and Superman fight. They clash. Cool, that's nice. But the fight was so short. You are waiting for the fight. That's literally what the film is called. And in the end, they fight, and you're like, okay, I don't hate the fight sequence. I kind of like it, but it's too short. Once it ends, you're like, it's done. That's what I was waiting for the whole movie. I need something more, right? It's not a major issue, but I needed something more. It felt very short and lacking. That's the point. And the Martha scene, Jesus. Okay, the Martha scene would have worked if Batman did not kill in this movie, right? Because that would have been him justifying himself to kill a man for the first time. And then when Clark says save Martha, he's asking his killer to save his mother. Batman sees Superman as a human being who's capable of love, who has a mother. He's a human. He's good. He's kind, right? And that's when Batman realizes what he's about to do. He's about to take a life, and he stops. That would have been a powerful moment. But since Batman kills, the whole moment is somewhat ruined. I don't hate it, I don't really like it either. It could have been so much better. It's just untapped potential, in my opinion. And the Doomsday fight, I did not like the Doomsday fight because it's, classic CGI battle in the third act. And I don't hate them, but here it was just very unnecessary. And you could notice that they're doing all these tropes so many times. The showcase of powers was interesting, but Doomsday, like, first of all, he didn't even look like Doomsday. He looked like a mutated. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, right? It just looked really ugly, and so that's fine. And but I feel like there should have been somewhat more comic booky with the villain, and that's fine. Doomsday doesn't work. He does not work. He's just a CGI monster that they have to fight in the end. And Superman's sacrifice was, yeah, I like the idea, but it feels very lacking because I haven't properly gained a proper understanding of the character, and it's just too soon, right? If I have to bring Marvel into this, comparing Iron Man's death, why is it more effective? Because you had several movies with him, you got an understanding of him. He was more three dimensional. Of course, Robert Downey Jr.'s charismatic performance is masterful, but it succeeds in its writing and its performance and its execution. And I'm not saying make so many movies with Superman and then kill him off. No, you can still make empathize with your characters in one movie. That's possible. Spider Verse did that successfully, but here it didn't manage to. I felt nothing. The whole funeral scene, it was just Zack Snyder like, be sad, and like, I'm not sad. It's one thing I like about Zack Snyder, his visual storytelling and his use of color is fantastic. It looks so much better than most Marvel movies these days with their bland color palettes. I something I appreciate about Zack Snyder. He's a visual storyteller and he does that really well. I really appreciate that. But I feel like he needs to properly understand what the writer tries to what do you say tries to talk about themes in this movie, right? When the writer, I think it's Chris Terrio, he's won an Oscar by the way, so he's a pretty good writer. And when Batman kills, Chris Terrio probably wrote it like, oh shit, Batman just killed. But Snyder executed it in such a way that says, oh yeah, Batman kills. That's, I think, where the miscommunication happens. Other than that, I don't hate this movie, right? I've been talking straight up about what I dislike, but other stuff I like. I like the visuals, I like the performances, they're amazing. But the sad thing is, these are just your average positives, right? Nothing much about the writing. And I really appreciate its deep themes that it tries to explore. After hearing the points of views of the Snyder fans, I'm like, okay, I actually kind of understand this, and I don't hate this as much as I did before. But yeah, it's somewhat a mess. If I had to rate this, I'm not very good at rating because it's so hard to point something specific. I'd give it like a 6 or 6.5 out of 10. So it's not bad. It's messy, but it's ambitious, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching.